Hello everyone. I want to share my driving experience with the Model Y on my first long road trips. I watch many YouTube videos online. They all talk about how Model Tesla is basically the best road trip cars out there, and I had high hopes for my Tesla Model Y during my first long road trips. But I'm seeing a few major issues as my personal experience. So I want to share that today. So people may aware what's the current issue now and how Tesla can address those in the future. Three major issues I ran into are phantom braking issues on the highway, and the in-car range estimator happens to be wrong in my case, and which I don't know exactly what went wrong. I can go into more details later. And then there's like relatively longer wait time than I thought it would be at superchargers. So I'm driving from Albuquerque, New Mexico into Denver, Colorado, and then into Aspen, Colorado, and then circle all the way back down on a 4 day road trips, uh, 2,000 miles ish, probably less than that a little bit. But nonetheless, so for the phantom brakings, I noticed the problem is probably a lot worse when the road condition isn't great, when the road is old and the marking is kind of washed out. So when I was first driving on the FSD or autopilot on highways, for first 2 hours it was perfect, no issue at all. When I'm driving outside of Albuquerque, but when I'm driving between the border between New Mexico and Colorado, um, again I don't know what happens. I don't know, is it because the road condition just wasn't perfect, the marking wasn't great. I see all kind of issues. The phantom braking was quite serious. Serious. Sometimes like every few seconds the car was trying to phantom brake, and most of the times brakes are relatively small, few miles decrease, but you can still feel it. But sometimes it's quite violent brakes, like decrease 20 miles in a second kind of thing. So it's very unpleasant actually after a while. So I had a temporary fix where I step on my car accelerator constantly as I'm on FSD. So the car just I force the car don't brakes. But again, it isn't great driving experiences. And I also noticed that the car when I'm changing lanes automatically let the car do it. Sometimes in the middle of lane change, the car will suddenly bails out and then just swerve back to the original lane. Again, very uneasy feelings. I noticed it a few times. Don't know exactly what happened or what went wrong, but the car decides that I can do lane changes. Also, in certain road conditions where in the two-lane interstate highways, when the dash line in the middle is kind of somewhat washed out, car will get confused thinking the lane is merging and suddenly it become one lane on the highway and then you end up driving right in the middle of two lanes. So again, not the best behaviors where it couldn't distinguish that it's still a two-lane highway it's driving on. So with all these problems, and my wife was with me, and with enough of phantom braking and the car swinging back and forth, that we just end up driving like second half of the trip coming back. Mostly I'm driving manually. Oh, by the way, I am on FSD beta 10.69.2, but that's a standard autopilot that everybody have. Another issues I ran into was quite upsetting was the range estimate on the car that was giving me some troubles. So again, I'm driving back from kind of like a Vail, Colorado, back down to this spot. I think it's close to Salida, Colorado, and then I have to take this 220 miles distance from here to all the way to Santa Fe. It's a little bit long, but again, I have the long range Model Y. I should have to make it if I have long enough charges, and that's what the car planner told me to do anyway. So so this long distance, what happens is that I'm at that charging station. The car charged roughly, I estimate to be around 75%. And then the car indicates on the range estimate told me you have charged enough, right? You can ready to go anytime you want. I even waited a few minutes longer just so car can charge up a little bit more to be on the safe side. And right before I leave, the car even make an estimate that I had enough range to drive all the way from here, Salita, Colorado, all the way back to Albuquerque if I wanted to. So with that, I feel like I have way more than enough range going to Santa Fe. Um, or maybe even have enough range to drive all the way home directly in one shot. But what happens, I don't know, is it because of road condition, it was like rainy and windy, or maybe my car tire pressure wasn't perfect. Nonetheless, after I've been driving for a while, like 20-30 minutes, the estimated arrival range just keeps continue dropping from like 16% of arrival to Santa Fe, all the way drop down to, keep going down to 10, 8, 6. And then the car would tell me to drive back to the original charging stations again, thinking it doesn't have enough charging juice left to make it to the station. Again, very strange because car told me that it's able to have enough range for me to go. Yeah, after I drive enough distance, the car have decided that it couldn't make it to the destination chargers, asked me to go back. And it's very confusing. So I keep driving for a while. And eventually after I drive long enough distance, I make a conclusion that most likely I can make it to the Santa Fe charging station. It was like my car have like less than 50% charger left, and I still have 3 hours to drive, and I just feel like 50% of Tesla charging just I don't think you can drive 3 hours with that, even at relatively low speed, like 65 miles per hour at speed limit. So I mean, I just feel uneasy about. Eventually, I decided to going down here. So before making a turn, I decided to make a turn into the Qingdao charging station, make additional routes here, and with that, I mean, just driving to here, let alone driving to Santa Fe, I only have like 6 to 5% car range left. So and then basically what happens is that I just end up adding 2 hours of highway driving, additional car driving into my road trips. And again, just not a very pleasant experience. Um, um, Not very pleasant experiences for me and my wife's, where we just add many hours to our road trips because the Tesla road range estimate was wrong. And again, it's very confusing. I find this behavior where if I sitting there charging and then the car will tell me I'm ready to go, but if I cancel the whole trip and then recalculate route, the car may come back to me again saying, "Hey, you have to charge continue 5 minutes before you're ready to go." Just this kind of weird behaviors where why would I, if I cancel and recalculate the trips range, why would the answer be different? Just again, software bugs. And another relatively minor but a noticeable issue I ran into is a relatively longer charging time at superchargers. Because of the place I'm going, a lot of these superchargers are level 2 chargers still, which is 150 kilowatt hours, and then it's shared between two stations. And on weekends, those charging stations are super busy, and one of the stations I even have to wait a little bit for a station to open up. And so when you are shared charging, the max peak charging is 75 kilowatt hours. Just because so many cars are there, therefore, like if each charging station waiting time is close to 25 to 40 minutes. Again, noticeable wait times at those charger stations makes commute a little bit longer than I expected to be. So I mean, overall, with these trips, first long road trips I did, my wife mostly with all these instances she was quite upset about it, and she basically vowed to never drive a Tesla in the long road trips anymore. We're gonna drive our gas cars again. It's very unfortunate. She have this feeling, but I get her as a regular consumer why she would get frustrated running into those issues. I'm a big Tesla fan myself, and Tesla is like the only stock I invest in myself besides my standard 401k index funds. So I'm a big Tesla fan. I'm an engineer. I understand all this concept for this Tesla would be great, but again, all these issues right now, it's frustrating. Where as a end users, we still experience it in year 2022. I do have high confidence Tesla will fix all these issues. All these fixed issues, I believe are very fixable. So, for example, phantom breakings again, pure FSD software updates. I believe the single stack software FSD end of year release should resolve all these common issues. It's able to resolve this phantom breaking. I have a big confidence, believe in that. But still, the phantom breaking issue has been quite a bit. It's been a few years and still not resolved yet. Again, car range estimate being wrong. Again, the issue I fully believe is a completely software issue. Tesla can resolve that, have a much better car range estimators that we wouldn't run into the issue we ran into earlier. And superchargers, again, the infrastructure will be built out with the future version 3, version 4 superchargers. You don't worry about shared charging powers, and then charging times much faster. Fully believe the supercharger experience will be much better. So at the end, I just want to share my driving experience in my Tesla Model Y long range, going to long road trips, issue we're running to. Not the best driving experiences, unlike all the other YouTube stations. Everyone just saying like this is the best road trip cars ever. Unfortunately, it's not my personal experience. Nonetheless, I'm still a huge Tesla fan, and I hope Tesla addresses all these issues, and then nonetheless, it's a great car, and I still love the cars, and hopefully you guys find this information useful, and Tesla will resolve those issues going forward.